Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar on navigating Insightly CRM. My name is Andrea Ludigiani, and I'm a customer success manager here at Insightly. And I'm looking forward to showing you some best practices on how to use Insightly more efficiently on a daily basis. Today, we're going to be looking at some of the basic functionalities of Insightly and how they can help build lasting relationships, close bigger deals, and ensure happy customers. We'll also look at the mobile app functionality so you can use Insightly on the go. If you have any questions throughout today's webinar, feel free to share them in the Q&A box and we will answer them at the end of the presentation. Before we jump into the system, let's review the main features that make up Insightly CRM. The foundation of any CRM is rooted in contact management, meaning the contacts and organizations you have relationships with and what those relationships look like. These can be clients or customers, vendors, suppliers, donors, or sponsors. Basically, any professional relationship can be tracked, managed, and grown using your CRM. Insightly makes it simple to also link records together to create complex webs of relationships. Essential records for sales management are leads and opportunities. Opportunities are the main record for tracking your sales pipeline from discovery to closed won. If you do any sort of outbound or inbound prospecting, leads are used to qualify those prospects before they enter your sales pipeline. When an opportunity is won, you can convert it to a project to manage any post-sale activity, like executing on client work or managing deliverables. Projects can also be used for internal operations like client or employee onboarding, managing marketing campaigns, or managing accounts, like we use it here at Insightly. And lastly, Insightly offers advanced features like dashboards and reports, so you can collect all of your relevant information into up-to-date visuals or export them for tracking your success. If you're wondering how all those different elements of the Insightly CRM fit together, we present this visual. On the left, you see that new lead. Keep in mind, leads are not used by all businesses, but for organizations who do lead generation, they can find leads a number of different ways. For example, this could be somebody you met at a conference, a name on a list that you purchased for marketing, or a submission from a form on your website. Once that lead is qualified, you can convert it to that opportunity, and at the same time, it creates the organization and contact, which will be linked. If they were not a fit for your business, you would mark that lead as disqualified. Keeping leads separate from contacts and organizations is important because you want to make it clear who is and who isn't qualified in your CRM. However, once a lead has expressed interest in your business, like they've requested a demo or would like to speak to sales, you would be able to consider that qualified. Opportunity records are designed for managing your sales pipeline and potential deals. For a manufacturing organization, they might be connected to clients who want to buy your products. For a nonprofit organization, they might be connected to people who want to donate to your cause. However, whenever an opportunity is won, you can convert it to a project so you can begin work on the customer's deliverables. Now that we've reviewed the main features of Insightly and how they fit together, let's hop into the system to take a look at best practices for managing records throughout the sales flow. When you go into Insightly, you will be brought to the home page like you see here. I'm looking at my recent activity, which is going to act as a news feed of anything that's been added or updated in my system across all users. I do have the ability to filter by activity type or by user, and I can also switch from recent activity to one of my dashboards. So for here, we see standard dashboards available here at the top. These are created by Insightly, and they're available for everybody on any plan. If you're on a professional or above, you do have the ability to create custom dashboards as well, which would also be available from your home screen dropdown. Up here at the top of the page, you do have the search bar as well as recent items. This is super helpful if you're in Insightly all day, every day, like I am. And sometimes you just need to retrace your steps to something you were working on previously. I always use my recent items dropdown. Now let's start by creating a lead and taking it through that sales flow. I can create a lead by going into the lead channel and creating a new lead, or I can also use this quick add button up here at the top of the page. Leads may be added to the system for you, either by a manager or by some automation that your team has set up. So knowing when a lead has entered your CRM is going to be really important. I'm going to go ahead and add a new lead now. I'm going to enter a lead for Robert Johnson. He is the CEO and founder of Johnson Inc. Lead status is important. We want to know if you've contacted this lead, not contacted them, and so on. These statuses can be updated by admins in the backend system. User responsible is the person who's responsible for reaching out to this lead. I'm going to keep it under my control. However, I could always reassign it to somebody else on the team. Lead rating, this is an optional feature. It's a 1 through 5 manual input to say whether or not this is a hot lead, which is a 5, or a cold lead, which would be a 1. Because Robert is a CEO and founder of what appears to be a tech company, that falls within our ideal client profile. So I'm going to go ahead and give him a 5. I could put in his information here, but I also want to make sure I mention where he came from. So I actually met him at a trade show. So I'm going to update this to trade show. Any additional information I could go ahead and provide here. And notice that we have some custom fields here. We need to know specific things about our leads when we convert them. So we've added custom fields to our lead layout so that we can capture that from the beginning. Go ahead and press save. I see my lead statuses up here across the top. Under the details tab, I see the fields that we've populated. Under the related tab, I see a place for notes and files. And under the activities tab, I see this is where my emails, tasks, and events would populate for this lead. I do have the ability to edit this lead anytime from the edit button. And then we also have this actions dropdown, which has a bunch of different functionality that you might want to consider, like sending an email, changing the owner, or probably most importantly, converting this lead to an opportunity. So I want to make sure that I have reached out to this lead. I'm going to update my lead status to contact him. Under the related tab, I'm also going to store a note about the phone call. Call with Robert. It went well. He wants to speak to sales. I'd probably provide more information, but for the sake of time, I'm going to keep it brief. And I'm going to go ahead and convert this lead. I can convert it by clicking on the button there. And we'll see that this is when it's going to create the new opportunity, the new contact, and the new organization all at the same time. If for whatever reason I already had a Robert Johnson or a Johnson Inc. in my system, it would show me that it's simply going to link the new opportunity to the existing record. However, these are all going to be brand new. Go ahead and press save. So now we've created our opportunity. We see our organization here. We see our details fields here. Under the related tab, we have our contact that was linked. If I hover, I'd be able to see additional information about Robert. I see the organization here. I see the note that I stored from my initial call. And then any activity would also have carried over in the conversion. I'm noticing on my details tab that my pipeline is missing. So I'm going to go ahead and update this record so that I apply my pipeline and add any additional information that might be missing. We do have a function called category. It's a way of segmenting your opportunities. In this case, I want to segment and mark this opportunity for a new business team. I'm going to put in an initial opportunity value. However, you can update this along the way. And then I'm going to go ahead and apply my pipeline. You'll notice that when I apply my pipeline and the stage updates to qualification, that these two activities populate here. That's because we have these built into our pipeline stages, which your admin is able to do for your team as well. You'll see that needs analysis has 3 tasks and negotiation has 3 tasks as well that will populate once I enter those stages of the pipeline. So now that I've applied my pipeline, I can see it here across the top. Under the activities tab, I see my tasks and my events that have populated. Once I've established a meeting time with the client, I'm going to go ahead and mark this complete. And I'm also going to start taking Robert down the sales pipeline. All right. Notice again, stage 2 has 3 tasks that are populating. Great. I'm going to take this person all the way through to negotiation, which at that time I've received a contract that I know I want to store to my opportunity record. So I'm going to come down here to files, and I'm actually going to upload the file for the contract that he shared with me. Great, I have it right here. I also have the ability to say that this is a contract file. If I ever needed to do a search and find all the contracts in the system, for example, this is what would make that very simple to do so. All right, and then as soon as this opportunity has gone through and Robert has signed the contract, and this is now ready to be marked as a closed won opportunity, I can go ahead and convert this opportunity to a project because I need to onboard this new account. To convert this opportunity to a project, I go to the Actions dropdown, and I simply click Convert to Project. When I convert this opportunity to a project, I give it a name. So I'm going to go ahead and say, let's say Johnson Inc. Onboarding. There we go. We won this opportunity because of a price. I gave them a really good deal. And I want to copy over all of the activity notes and files and stuff from my opportunity. So now I can convert to project. You'll see consistency with your details tab with all of your fields. The fields will change based on which type of record you're looking at, and these all can be highly customized from the backend system by your system admin. Under the related tab, again, you're going to see all of your links. So I have Robert here, I have the opportunity that was converted, I have the organization, I see my note, I see my file. Perhaps at this stage, Robert introduces me to a new member of his team who's going to be responsible for onboarding the new platform. So I would want to make sure I add them to this project so I know who my key contact is. So I've added James, who is already in my system, as the key contact for this onboarding project. My onboarding project can either be managed using milestones, which are like goals and sprints, or by applying a pipeline. Our onboarding project does follow a linear progression, so I'm going to want to make sure I apply my pipeline. So I'm going to press edit, come down here to pipeline, some more tasks, press save. Alrighty. A lot of my information is missing here, so I'm going to be very diligent about keeping this up to date, but for the sake of time, I'm going to go ahead and just leave it here. Keeping all of these projects, opportunities, leads, contacts, organizations, keeping all of this organized for yourself is going to be a huge priority. So let's look at how you can create segmented lists so that you can see only the information that matters to you when you're in your CRM. So this is going to function the same way no matter where you are in the system. You'll notice that you have the drop down here at the top where you see standard list views. We do provide some list views to make managing all of your records easier. However, you do have the ability to create your own list views as well. So for example, I want to create a list of all of my onboarding projects. I'm simply going to click on this gear here. I'm going to add a new list view, and I'm going to say my onboarding accounts. I don't need to share this with my team, so I'm just going to leave it available for myself. Now that I've created my own list, I can apply some filters so that, again, I'm able to narrow down what exactly I'm looking at. So if I know that I'm the user responsible, I want to add that. And I also want to make sure I'm only looking at my onboarding records. So that was my category equals to onboarding. Great. So now I see a list of all of my onboarding projects. They're all in different stages of the pipeline. I do have the ability to switch between a grid view, which I see here, or a Kanban view. So if I were to switch to Kanban view, it's asking which pipeline am I looking at? And when I do so, it's going to organize them into this pipeline view. I like to stay on grid view, so I'm going to go back to that. However, I don't need some of this information. I want different columns available here. So I'm going to go ahead and also edit the columns on this list view. I'm going to get rid of user responsible because I already filtered by it. And I'm going to get rid of category because I don't need that. And maybe I want to pull in, let's say, organization. Well, that wasn't an option. Maybe I'm going to pull in when this is due. Okay, great. So now I can keep my onboarding projects organized. I can minimize my filters so I don't always have to look at them. And I can access this list anytime from this dropdown. So that's how you would take somebody through your sales flow, from leads to opportunities to projects. Again, not all organizations use leads, not all organizations use projects, but the functionality is there for you to be able to give a great full lifecycle experience to your customer from the moment you meet them all the way through to when you've delivered on your promises. Now let's take a look at how you would manage accounts, meaning the contacts and organizations that may be already in your system. So organizations, these are going to be the groups of people that you work with, and then the contacts are going to be perhaps the individuals associated with those groups, or they could just be standalone contacts. If I open up an organization record, this is going to provide all of the information you need to know to be able to contact this record. Under the related tab of an organization, you should be able to see all of the contacts that are associated. You should see all of the opportunities, both present and historical, and then all of the historical projects as well. You do have notes and files available on the organization level as well. Under activity, this is where you're going to be tracking your engagement with this organization. So we see here that we don't have anything with this org coming up. Again, this might be on a contact level, however. If I receive a new contact at Clampett Oil, I may need to add them to my CRM. If they're not already in the CRM, I find the easiest way to add them would be to find the org that they're associated with, go to the actions dropdown of that organization, and add new contact for organization. So perhaps I was just introduced to Sally Smith, 555, and she's Sally at Clampett.com. And she's the new senior, she's the senior VP of sales. Sure. Go ahead and press save. So now we've added a new contact to our system. We see that she's related to Clampett. So Clampett's going to show up under her related tab. We also see this nice little section of other contacts at that organization, which we could see here. And on the reverse, she will now be available on Clampett's related tab as well. Now let's review the best practices for managing your records. The first one, and maybe the most obvious, is that you need to keep your records up to date. Your CRM is only as good as the data you put into it, so do yourself a favor of using either the web app, sidebars, or mobile app to update contact information, save a note about a recent conversation or meeting, or upload an important file you might have received during a sales conversation. The second one is get organized. Use list views to segment your records into manageable chunks that you can also use for email or outreach lists. And the third one is link records together to deepen your relationships. Best practice is that every record should really be linked to a contact or organization on its related subtab. Now let's move on to managing tasks in Insightly. Tasks are very flexible and can be used a number of different ways. Their obvious use is to create a to-do list for yourself as it relates to your records in the CRM. This could be a reminder to follow up with an opportunity, reach out to a dark account, or schedule a meeting with a new lead. These tasks would have future due dates that you can use reminders to ensure they don't pass you by. You can also use tasks for logging activity that already took place, like a phone call or a meeting. Every session I have with a customer, I log as a completed task on their organization record, so we have a running ledger of all sessions we've had within an account. This would be a task that you create and mark complete at the same time. And the third way to use tasks is to timestamp important activities, like preparing and delivering a pitch or demo, receiving payment, or account updates being made. Let's hop into the system and take a look at some of these examples and other ways to use tasks more effectively. So let's look at where tasks populate in Insightly. So on your task channel here on the left-hand side, you're going to see a collection of all the tasks, both past and present, across all users in the system. The drop-down menu here has your standard list views that contain a few that will be helpful to you, like my open tasks, my tasks, and so on. I've created a few custom list views to show you how you can organize tasks more efficiently in this channel. For example, I like to use tasks due this week, which I filtered to show tasks that are assigned to me that are due after last week, since we don't actually have one that says this week. So I did due date greater than last week, and I did status equals to not started. So this gives me a list of all the tasks that are coming up. You can see that I don't have as much information as I probably will need, like perhaps what it's related to. And I can get that information if I toggle between perhaps grid view to this compact view. If I switch to compact view, it'll actually show me the links for each task, which is very helpful. Or if I do prefer my grid view, I can update the columns so that I can see linked information. So for example, linked contact, linked opportunity, and so on. Okay. So this is the view that I typically use on my daily basis. I also created another one here called team task list. So this could be helpful for a manager. This is actually grouped by each user. So we have a long list of all the tasks that have not been completed. And then I took this, excuse me, I took this user responsible column and I dragged it into this gray area right above. And it's grouped all of the tasks in this list by who is the assigned user. So again, using list views within tasks is also going to be hugely helpful for keeping all of this organized. You also have the calendar function, which is helpful for task management. And you'll notice on the calendar, you do have the ability to see your events, your tasks, your milestones. And then you can see events for your colleagues. However, you cannot see your colleagues' tasks. And the reason for that is because people use tasks very differently. So seeing all of your colleagues' tasks on your calendar is not going to be hugely helpful. Another little trick that you may want to do is sync your calendar from Insightly to your email calendar so that you can see your tasks in both places. If you click on that sync, it does take you into your user settings where you can change the sync function between Google or Exchange. If you wanted to create a task for your records, so for example, let's create a follow-up task perhaps for a contact that I haven't reached out to in a while. How would I know if I haven't reached out to them? Well, Insightly offers a really great little feature called our date of next and date of last activity fields. So these are auto-populating fields based on the activity or email that you've stored in your activity tab. So for example, this one's saying that I have not had activity with this account since October 2019. If I go look under the activities tab, that's going to be pretty accurate. And we also have our date of next activity that also populates the upcoming activities as well. So what I would do if I wanted to manage my accounts and as it relates to my tasks is I would probably create a list view so that I can see all of my contacts with the date of last activity. So I'm going to create a new list view, date of last activity. I'm going to press save. Now I'm going to quickly choose my columns. I'm going to get rid of some of this information as I don't really need it. And I'm going to pull in date of last activity and next activity just to see if I have anything coming up with them as well. All right, so if I sort by this, one, I see a lot of accounts that don't have any activity at all. So those are a good place to start if I needed to prioritize who to reach out to. But additionally, I could also just see, these accounts here. Looks like I need to reach out to Hendo. So if I came in here and went to the activities tab, I could go ahead and add a task for myself to follow up with a cold account. All right, I'm going to give it a category. In this case, it's going to be follow-up, and I'm going to give a due date that I really need to get this done by tomorrow. You'll notice you have other features like a start date, repeats, progress, and so on. But the ones that we use most often here at Insightly are actually the reminder date, which if I put in a reminder for tomorrow at a certain time, I'll receive an email notification reminding me that I have a task due. Additionally, because I use my mobile app, I will also receive a push notification that I have a task due. We also use priority to say whether or not this is a low, medium, or high priority. This one, probably somewhere between low and medium. One of our high priorities would probably be some sort of escalation of like an unhappy account or something along those lines. But in this case, we'll keep it medium. And again, it's not been completed yet, so I'm going to go ahead and leave it as not started. All right, so I've added my new task here. I will likely manage it under my task channel by looking at tasks due this week. We see it right here. And then I will use my mobile app to remind myself that morning that I have to reach out to John Hendo. It probably wouldn't be a bad idea as well to create a list perhaps of my tasks that are of high priority. So I have a specific list for that. So again, you can use lists a number of different ways. It really is just based on how you like to prioritize your day and tackle the tasks that you have due ahead of you. So now let's hop back into our presentation and let's take a look at best practices for task management. First, again, prioritize your tasks so that you can see which tasks should be completed before the others. Organize your tasks onto list views so that you can get due date, priority, you can see the links. Definitely toggle between the compact view and the grid view and decide which one you like better. And lastly, use the calendar sync so that you can see all of your tasks in both places. Now let's continue and look at the ways that Insightly supports email tracking. These are the steps for setting up your account to send email. First, you need to link your email to your Insightly account to be able to send emails from Insightly. We'll look at how to do that in a second. Then, when you want to be sure, okay. These are the steps for setting up your account to send email. First, you need to link your email to your Insightly account to be able to send emails from Insightly. We'll look at how to do this in a second. Then you want to be sure you have your email signature set up so the email looks like it was sent directly from you from your own email account. When you're ready to send an email, you can use email templates to track the open and click rates of your email, or you can simply just write a freehand email from within the application. And then when you're sending an email, you can send it to one person or up to 50 at a time. Now let's take a look at how to do this in the app. First step is to link your email. So the place that you're going to go to link your email is from the user dropdown in the upper right-hand corner. You're going to go to your user settings. Okay. Under user settings, you're going to go to email accounts. I already have my email linked here, but if you needed to add an account, you would simply click the blue button, select your email provider, and then you would be able to log into the account and link it to the system. Once that is set up, you are going to be able to send emails from Insightly that are going to look like they were sent directly from your email provider. Meaning, when you send an email out of Insightly CRM, it will appear in your email outbox, and any response you get to it will go to your email inbox. If the email is important and you want to save it to the CRM, then you can use a number of different ways, which we'll look at in a second, to save emails to the CRM that you've received. So our email account is set up. Now I need to go to my email signature. I've already added mine here. However, note that you can also add HTML. So if I wanted to add my logo, I could do that here using the HTML coding. Or I can just leave it pretty simple, which I prefer. Save email signature. Okay. To create an email template, you go into the email section of Insightly. This is going to act as a repository of all saved and sent emails, anything that's been shared from your colleagues, and anything that you have scheduled. You click on the email templates button to be able to take a look at all of your templates. We have a few here that come out of the box from Insightly as well. And you'll see the open rate. And then if you click into it, you'll actually be able to see the open rate and the click rate. If I wanted to send this email template to contacts or leads in my system, I can do that a number of different ways. I can actually go to this actions dropdown and select new email from template. Or if I have a list of people that I want to contact, I can simply go find my list, which under contacts, I use a little tag to identify people that are on my client webinar mailing list. And I want to email these people a follow-up email. I can group select everybody on the list, and I can simply come up here and press send email. That option becomes available if you're using one contact or up to 50. When I press send email, I can select from which email I send it from. I can see everybody who's going to receive that email, and then I can select the email template type and then find my email template. I already created one for a webinar follow-up, which we see here, and we can even see that it's going to plug in everybody's first names, which is going to be really great. If I go ahead and press next, I can preview the email. So in this case, I can flip through each contact that's going to receive the email and take a look at how it's rendering. If I know Kevin here happens to be a big Giants fan, I can actually add a message only to Kevin's email by simply going to the preview section and saying, sorry, the Giants keep losing. That message will only appear on Kevin's. It will not appear on anybody else's email. So that's a very strong way to be able to send email in bulk while also still making them highly personalized and customized. Then when you go to press send, you can either send it now, or for professional and above plans, you can schedule it out. I don't want to send it out of there, so I'm going to go ahead and press cancel. A copy of that email would have appeared in everybody's activities tab. A copy of that email would also have appeared in my Gmail outbox. And then again, if anybody replies to my email, it would go to my Gmail inbox. And if it was important enough to save to my CRM, I would go ahead and save it. Please note that you can only email contacts and leads in your system, as those are the only two record types that have email accounts. Even if you add a custom field onto your organizations or opportunities for an email address, the system does not recognize that. So only contacts and organizations can receive emails. Now let's take a look at saving emails to Insightly. We offer two email sidebars that can be installed for Gmail and Office 365 users. Both bring your Insightly data right into your email inbox. The Gmail sidebar is available for all Gmail users through the add-ons menu. The Outlook sidebar is available for Office 365 business subscriptions. If you subscribe to Office 365 through a third-party provider like GoDaddy, the add-on may not be available for you. Please check with your email provider to see if you have access to their app store. If you do not have access to the sidebar, you can also save emails to Insightly using your Insightly mailbox address. The mailbox address is not an email inbox or any sort of mail application. It is simply an email address that is assigned to each user of Insightly that, when used as a CC or BCC or simple to in an email field, will automatically send a file of a copy of the original message to Insightly and link it to the related contact or lead. Once emails are saved to Insightly, there are a few places where you can find and manage those emails, which we'll take a look at. Emails that are saved to Insightly are automatically linked to the contact or lead with the matching email address, and is also going to be linked to the organization if you're using your organization domain addresses. So let's take a look at how that works. So I have my demo email account open here, and you'll see that I have my sidebar available on the right-hand side. It's prompting me to open an email, so I'll open this one here. Great, one of my customers would like to add 3 users to their account. I want to save this to Insightly. I can go ahead and just press quick save, and that's going to go ahead and add the email to Insightly and create a new contact for this contact as they're not in Insightly currently. If I go ahead and press quick save, I can now head back into Insightly, and where I go to find my emails is my home screen. I like that the recent activity shows me any contacts that have been added based on my activity. It shows me the email here, and it shows me the links that are related to this email. If I notice that something might be missing, for example, maybe I want to relate this also to an organization, I can just simply click on the email for my recent activity, go to the related tab, and I can add any additional links. All right. So now, because I've linked the org, this email will also show up on the organization level. To ensure that emails get linked to organizations automatically as well, you're going to want to be utilizing this email domains feature. That means anytime you're emailing or saving an email to Insightly that matches the domain of one of your organizations, Insightly is going to be able to match them together. Now let's take a look at how I would save that email using my email mailbox address. So again, if you don't have a sidebar available, you can save emails to Insightly using your mailbox address, which is available under your user settings. You'll see that there's a section called mailbox, and then you'll see that I have my own personalized mailbox address that I simply copy and paste into the to field. If I needed to reply to this person, I can simply include it in the CC or the BCC. Either way, it'll get linked to Insightly. All right, so if I go ahead and press send, perfect, we see it right here. Now let's take a look at the Insightly mobile app and the functionality that's provided. So the mobile app allows for all the same functionality as the web app, like creating, editing, and searching for records, adding and editing notes, comments, files, and links, converting leads to opportunities and opportunities to projects, saving and sending emails, managing tasks, and your Insightly calendar. Features available specifically to the mobile app include the ability to receive push notifications on your task reminders, scanning business cards to create a lead or a contact record, recording audio notes that can be linked to records, or logging and linking calls made through the mobile app. Let's take a look at how to use it. So when you log onto the mobile app, you're going to have an area at the top that's showing you all of your tasks. So again, we find a lot of feedback from our customers is that they actually prefer using the mobile app to manage their tasks because it provides a much more manageable, easy to use interface. You'll also see your recent activity like we see here, and then recently viewed there at the bottom. Along the top, you have the ability to add a new record. You can also use the search functionality, or you can configure your home page using the 3-dot button. If you click on the burger button on the upper left corner, that's showing you your left-hand navigation. So if I wanted to add, for example, a new contact to the system, I can click the plus sign next to contact. If I go into contacts, I have a nice list here. We have the ability to filter. I can also press this plus sign in the upper right-hand corner to be able to add a business card, add somebody from my phone address book, or to simply add a new contact. If I open up somebody's reference here and they had a phone number, I would be able to call them from the Insightly mobile app, and it would log the phone call under activity. This is a really great way if you do have reps that are making phone calls on the road, or you yourself are making phone calls to customers and you want the system to automatically log the activity for you, you might consider making that phone call using the mobile app. On the left-hand side, you also, again, have the ability to use your calendar. It's going to show you what's coming up on the calendar. You're able to add events or tasks to the calendar. If you open up emails, you will see all of the emails that you've saved either this year or today, as we see here, and so on. If I open up an opportunity, it's going to look pretty similar to how it looks on the standard app. We have the details here. Keep in mind that the details are only showing you fields that have populated values. So if this looks a little briefer than what we see in the mobile or in the desktop app, it's because there might be fields that don't have any information in them. Therefore, they're not going to show here in the mobile app. In the upper left hand or in the upper right hand corner, you do notice that you have the convert to project button as well as an edit button. Under the related tab, you are able to add links anytime. So right now I'm under the related tab of this record, and if I were to press the plus sign, it's going to ask me what link do I want to add. You'll also notice that it has the note with recording as well as a standard note, and you can still file attachments. All right, and then if I switch to the activities tab, again, if I press the plus sign in the upper right, it's asking me what do I want to add to this record's activity tab? Is it a task, event, or an activity set? So again, as you can see, the same functionality pretty much applies to the mobile app with a little bit of extra features kind of peppered in there for your enjoyment. So that brings us to the end of today's webinar content. And before we answer the questions that have been populating in either the chat or the Q&A function, I do want to share the complete list of resources available to Insightly users. So the Insightly Help Center is available to you 24/7 from the user drop-down menu within your Insightly app or by visiting help@insightly.com. We have how-to resources, best practice articles, videos, both recorded webinars and tutorials on all of our features and use cases. We also have an onboarding guide for users that can be found in the Help Center, and I'll include it in my follow-up email. We're currently building out a library of in-app guides and step-by-step tutorials on all the things we covered today, which you can access from the Customer Success portal in your profile menu from the upper right corner of your Insightly mobile app. So we have a ton of different resources that are available to our users, including our Help Center, which is available 24/7 online. That's where we have all of our how-to resources, best practice articles, video tutorials, and our customer forum where other users are asking and answering questions. We also have an onboarding guide that I will share in my follow-up email. This has tutorials and best practices for how to configure and use Insightly. We also have a new process that we're building out, which is a library of in-app guides and step-by-step tutorials on everything that we covered today. We also offer webinars. So today we were looking at navigating Insightly. This one was available for all of our users and admins. If you're an admin on this call, we also have a Configuring Insightly CRM webinar that you can find on the Help Center. And then along the way, we're going to be also throwing in some new webinars focused on more of our advanced features, both how to configure and how to use them. And then we also offer email and phone support to select success plans through our customer care team. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will open the floor to Q&A.